Hello,
Back
everyone,
you.
and welcome back to our
Yeah.
podcast. I'm Kris, joined by my brothers, Adam and Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room once more to give our
Hello.
take on video games. Eric, I really enjoyed that hello. I feel like that's a hello you used to do that you stopped doing, and you just did it there again today for the first
Yeah.
time in a long time. That was really
No,
nice.
just felt in the energy in a moment.
I liked it. It was like,
Yeah.
hello!
I should start wearing a monocle and a top hat and everything. Be all like,
You became the Monopoly Man. But anyway, we're not here to talk about board games. We're here to talk about video games. And in this week's episode, we're going to be giving our take and some speculation on what might come from the future of these consoles, the consoles that we have at the moment, but what further developments might come out for certain consoles and what we hope to see from certain developers. So there's going to be a lot of speculation in this, and then a lot of hopeful wishing too, and our own personal hopes and takes in this. But if you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love you guys to join in on this conversation. So make sure to jump down into the comments at any point to share your thoughts, and maybe you follow certain like leakers or news outlets that maybe we've missed out on. And at some point when we're talking about, oh, we think Nintendo will do this, or we think PlayStation will do this, maybe you'll have a little bit of insider information. You're like, well, actually, I've been following this guy, and check this juicy shit out. Pwah! There's the KFC console. So you might be able to let us know about that stuff. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to jump down into the comments. And if you enjoyed this at any point, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell. If this is an audio platform such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else you like to listen to us, you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to talk about the future of gaming. But anyway, without further ado, let's get back to the future. Okay, so to start off with today's discussion, I'd love to start with the VR, PlayStation VR.
yeah.
And the reason I want to start there was because a little while ago, there was all these little videos that came out, little PS5 shorts that were like showing off the different features that it does, like haptic feedback or, HDR and all these little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in one of them, it had PSVR.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone kind of went, what? Because it's like, there's been no mention of the VR working with the PS5. That hasn't been mentioned. Is that an announcement? Is that an official announcement? And kind of nothing's been said on it since then. And even like certain games that have come out. So, for example, Resident Evil Village, which came out not too long ago, didn't come with VR when Biohazard had VR.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of questions at the moment as to what is happening with PlayStation VR and what do people hope to see from it. Like, do you think there's going to be a VR 2, or do you think they're just going to add in some kind of feature that updates that uses the original
No,
VR?
there's definitely going to be a VR 2 because the controllers were announced. The controllers were shown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What
When was
do they
that?
look like?
Beginning of the year, this year, I think.
Are they kind of like do they just look like variations of the original kind of remotes?
No, they look like the Oculus kind of style. The ones where they're little handles with a kind of circle that goes around your hand.
Oh,
And it would use not the camera for tracking. It would have its own built-in tracking kind of stuff like that. So it's very clear that the current VR headset is not going to work for any of the new VR games that are coming out. I'd imagine. I can't see them wanting to support it if this new headset is going to have a lot better tracking. You're not, with the original VR, you're tied to just facing the screen essentially. You couldn't do much room movement.
Yeah, yeah.
And that this looks like, there's a lot less cables and stuff like that. Because I imagine that's what the USB-C port is on the PS5. Because when you think about it, like,
Yeah, it's there.
have you ever used it?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so.
In fact, I did try using it one time to try charge the controller and it didn't work.
Oh, I've used it to pair with the controller at times.
No, well, the actual port, not the
Oh, you mean the one on the back of the console?
no, the one on the front. There's
Yeah, I've used that.
There's USB-A and then there's a USB-C.
I think I've used that.
Because
I'm not sure now.
the charger, the cable that comes with the PS5
Mm,
is a
yeah.
USB-A to USB-C. So that uses the front USB-A port to charge and sync the controller.
Right.
But that
Yeah.
USB-C port is not being used.
Just sitting there.
Now,
You think that's going to be for the VR then?
I would imagine so. Either that or it's for high speed expansion, but I don't really see the point in that when you can expand the internal at some point in the future. So I reckon it's one cable, because that was the issue with the VR in the first place, was that you had a separate box. There's two cables going to the front of that for the VR headset.
Mm.
Then there was two cables coming out the back, one to the PlayStation, the other to the television, and then another cable coming out of the back that goes into the front of the PS4. It was just
Yeah.
it was
Crazy.
it was mental. Whereas
Yeah.
I think this is going to be simplified all down into one single cable, that
I
USB-C.
think that makes sense as a development, but I wonder, is there other things that it's going to do? Like, will they put haptic feedback inside the headset? Do you think they will? No, not
the
in
headset. In the controller, for sure,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. Imagine in the headset. That'd be fucking horrible.
No. But they would have
Imagine
the
the
3D audio.
vibrations and shit.
Yeah. Every time, like, if an enemy punches you, it'll vibrate at the point of contact on your head and everything.
That's
Become
in the
too
film, isn't it? That's in...
Oh, maybe it's that.
Well, it's Ready Player One. They have like they get upgraded suits so they actually feel all the hits and feel every single touch in the video game.
Is that in Demolition Man when they're like getting it on?
Oh yeah, remember
It's also it's in
weird sequence. It's like these were all the inspirations for these kind of VR headsets. When do you think we'll see an announcement then of a PSVR 2?
I'm surprised that not hasn't been already. I'm expecting to see something maybe in the summer maybe the end of summer, or maybe even September.
Yeah. Like, do you think maybe they'll try and aim a launch for this Christmas?
No. There is rumors of another PS5 next year.
Or like a slim, so to speak, or something like that.
Maybe not slim, but possibly a redesign. So maybe it's just different colors, black, for example.
Yeah.
PS5 bulk. It's actually just bigger.
There might be
Like a bigger.
there might be a slim down a little bit, but I imagine it's going to be things like, reducing possible fan noise or improving making it quieter, much more efficient and things like that, because some units have had suffered from making noise while running.
Yeah.
So it's going to be just an iteration on the current design, I imagine, and that would be a good time to launch with the VR.
What I want to know is, when are they going to release a solution to the storage problem on the PS5?
Yeah, they're
have you guys run into storage issues?
Every day.
Yeah, and I have 2 PS5 games.
Yeah.
I have 2 PS5 games.
Well, I just bought.
I'm always deleting stuff.
I bought an external hard drive because there's no point in keeping your PS4 games on the SSD. So
I have, like, I'm pretty sure the vast majority, anything that's PS4 is on my. I have extended storage, but that's full. So I can't store anything else on that anymore. And so at some point I have to start using the PS5.
Okay.
And then I'm like, Jesus, maybe I should just get an even bigger, extended storage and move everything from that to that. But I'm a bit worried about losing shitload of save files along the way.
Well, no, the save files will stay on the console, and
It's just the install file.
they also save to the cloud. So you could probably uninstall a bunch of PS4 games off the external that you're not using.
Well, I have done
Yeah.
recently to play the Mass Effect Legendary
Yeah.
Edition because
But
I had
that's-
to. It wouldn't
that's-
install.
That's 100 gigs. So
Yeah, that's 100 gigs. Well, it's
Wow.
three games, so
it is 3 games. Yeah.
not too surprising to be honest. And there is some significant changes in it.
No, it's just, it is just annoying with like if you want to play Final Fantasy 7, like I don't have external hard drive, so I can't put anything onto it. But like I know Integrate is coming up soon, so I'm obviously going to keep Final Fantasy 7 on the PS5 so I can experience that.
Yeah.
But that's like 40-50 gigs. Cyberpunk I'm going to keep on at the moment for when they release like free updates and DLC and stuff.
Yeah.
But sure, that's over 100 gigs, including all the like expand like all the shit that they do. Demon Souls is fucking 50 something gigabytes. Ghost of Tsushima is 50 or 40 gigabytes. And it's like, this is fucking horse shit. I can't fucking.
Well, the size of the files isn't horseshit, obviously, but that's just
but
the
the
way
fact
they
that they didn't really think to go, games are probably going to be a tad bit bigger, aren't they? We should probably,
But
not put as 500 gigs.
But I feel like they must have known, though. I feel like there is a solution coming. I just don't know why there hasn't any word on it yet. And it's going to be something you got to buy, and it's going to be something that PlayStation sell. You know what I mean? Like, I think...
No, they've
No?
no, that was the thing that you see, Microsoft went down that road where they were like, okay, if we make it, we can package it and we can sell it, and they have been doing so. So they've had a solution since day one, which is essentially a memory card that goes to the back of the system. It's a great solution, but it's very expensive. And Sony's solution was to go a little bit more open with it so that you could get a third party. So there will be, like, Samsung will make one, or SanDisk will make one, and Toshiba, or is it Toshiba? Yeah, whatever. Will make expansion.
That can store your PS5 files.
Yeah, so you'll be able to put it directly into the machine. The thing is, though, that Sony at the time designed it around it being a type of SSD that isn't available yet. They're starting to become more available now. I think you can buy one from Western Digital, but not even that has been tested by Sony to confirm whether or not to buy it. Western Digital say it does work, but it's not. I would wait to see what Sony says first. But there is a memory shortage on the market.
All right.
Right, like RAM, for example, is hard to purchase, and SSDs and RAM, I believe, share a lot of the same technology. So due to COVID and stuff like that, there is a shortage of memory.
Yes, yeah.
So they're just, I imagine that this would have been solved like beginning of this year had COVID not happened. I think
Fuck
that's
you, COVID.
probably why it's
so much
been
shit.
delayed.
Fucking
But
COVID.
it shouldn't be long now before, and I imagine it's not much of a priority for them either.
No, probably not. Like, it
because-
hasn't stopped people. Nobody goes, well, then I'm not buying this new game that I want because I have to clear up storage. But it is a minor inconvenience. It's not the end of the world, but it's a minor inconvenience to have to kind of play. It's kind of like, when you play Resi 4 and you have to rearrange your case. And that's a fun mini game in and of itself. It's like that now. Every time you want to play a new game on your PS5, you gotta rearrange what's what, and you gotta delete some stuff, and
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a huge inconvenience, but I think it's just the way they're probably thinking about it now is that they can't meet the demand of PS5 sales. Never mind memory storage.
Yeah.
I would say the memory storage issue is probably worse than the end of the world, because with the end of the world, you wouldn't have to worry about memory storage.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I agree with Eric.
Tough.
Get right on it, lads. Memory storage is key to the future of. Never mind the future of gaming.
Yeah.
The future of our own mental well-being, lads.
I do wonder with the fact that they're updating like a lot of games on the PS5.
Yeah.
With the VR2, are they going to be like compatible? Because I know like Hitman Trilogy is now on VR essentially.
Oh,
You're
that's a
able to
good
play it.
point. Yeah,
So I do
Yeah.
wonder, like, with the do you have to still have the VR1 just to play all like Resi 7 and stuff,
Yeah,
or
that is a
like
very. I didn't even
No,
think of that. That's a
I would
good point.
reckon
It'll be
that
backwards compatible.
I reckon it'll be backwards compatible, but you would be limited to,
certain games?
well, just limited to the gameplay that it's offering. Like it wouldn't have any of the enhanced features that
All right.
VR2 would have. There is, I imagine there could be some possible games that wouldn't be compatible that really rely on the light bar of the PS4, or perhaps you do need a DualShock 4 or something like that.
Hmm.
But I imagine that they would implement backwards compatibility.
They'd be mad not to, really.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Otherwise,
Well,
all the games would
yeah.
have to be updated for the VR2.
Well, maybe that's what's going to happen, actually. You know,
Yeah.
in a similar way to games that get a PS5 update, and the VR ones might get a PSVR2 update, or that there could be something there, like because you would imagine that there is something that the PSVR2 does differently, other than managing wires better. Like you'd imagine they probably are pumping something else
I
into it.
think that would be literally it.
And,
Yeah.
and that's cool as well. Like if it does that, great enough. But I would imagine that like, if there was anything where they were like, oh, if I could get a second go around at the VR, what would I add now? Now that I can,
Well, you see, I think,
right?
yeah,
You
I
might
think
feel it.
like Oculus have cracked it, and I think Oculus VR is how you do VR,
Mm.
and Sony's offering just can't compare to the Oculus. So I imagine the VR2 is literally going to be the Oculus essentially in terms of
Yeah.
all of its features and capabilities. It's just that now it can play on a PlayStation. I can't see them doing anything wilder than what the Oculus can currently do. Only because, well, VR in itself is special enough. I don't think you need to add anything like haptic feedback, for example. Like that's in Oculus and Vive.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was there before the DualSense came out. You know.
I just hadn't experienced it yet. So when I experienced haptic, I was like the child on Christmas morning. And I think everyone else was like, yeah, Chris, we all knew what haptic feedback was. I was like, I didn't. I just thought it was a cool visual in the videos. And then I blew into my controller and I fucking and it blew my mind back.
So if they have a haptic feedback with the VR, like VR2, let's say, if they do make it pretty much Oculus Rift, and they update all the games, all the VR games, and you're playing Resi 7 in VR, and Jack comes up behind you and fucking decks you. Are you allowed to feel that in your face?
No, it won't be like that. You'll feel in the control, won't you?
Oh no, there won't be haptic in the
No,
headset.
they can't do it.
No.
Vibration that knocks you out. You're on the fucking floor.
They might do
Yeah.
something a little bit though. I could see them maybe adding small sensory features.
I was thinking for more
Yeah.
environmental stuff, like if it was raining.
You'll kind of feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
hear
yeah.
the rain in your ears, and you might feel it, and you're like, "Holy shit!" Like this, it
That's
feels
just-
like it's fucking raining. But
That's
as
just
opposed to-
fucking. That's a torture method.
I could see them. I could see them doing something like that.
something
Yeah,
like that,
definitely.
too, like a real light effect. Nothing
Yeah.
crazy. Nothing. Imagine to do something like Doom in VR, and as you blow shit, like
The blood
like,
splatter on your
the
face.
blood splatter, you feel it
Yeah,
on your.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be.
I was just
I
thinking
don't know if
that
that'd be
because,
good.
Would it
I saw,
ever
like-
get Doom though? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. Doom's gone. Bye, Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like when you were saying Doom about the blood splatter, I was thinking of when they introduced Hitman into being. I think it was Hitman into being VR, and this girl came down. She went, "I think I'm living with a psychopath," because of the stairs and is filming her boyfriend, who has this guy, and he's beating the guy's head off like at the side of a table, like in Hitman or something game like that. And they're probably thinking of that and that idea of like the fucking guy's head blood splattering all over your face.
Yeah.
And feeling it. That's
What's
fucking weird.
Just while we're talking about like VR games and stuff, there's two questions I want to get around to, but one of them is currently what's your favorite VR experience or your favorite VR game that you've played, and that'll lead on to the next thing, which is more looking to the future.
Mine's either Beat Saber or
I mean, that's hard to beat.
it's fucking great. I won't. I'll have I won't say Skyrim VR. Just to move on,
You just did,
move-
right?
Yeah, but I won't
I will not
linger on
say
it. I will
Skyrim
not
VR.
linger on it.
Yeah, there's no need to go into why.
But actually,
That's enough.
my first ever VR experience was with the HTC Vive, and it was one of the Steam Labs VR experiences, and it was just fucking amazing. It was like it's basically these figures. They all look like stick figures, and you're on top of a tower, and you just have a bow, and you have to take out all these, defend your tower. And it's
Yeah.
like, although aesthetically it looked like kind of Minecraft with stick figures almost, it was like fucking hell. I'm legless defending Helm's Deep. Like it was just, and the thing is with the HTC and the Oculus, like the screens are so much better than PSVR. Like PSVR is like this is fine and it's a great experience and it's still immersive, but
Yeah.
with the other ones, the screen is so good that like you can barely see any pixelation whatsoever.
Oh,
And
man.
that was the first time as well that I ever experienced haptic controls was in the HTC. So when you're pulling back the bow, you get these little feelings that it actually feels like the string is actually drawing in
Right,
your
the
hand.
tension.
It was really wild. I was like, how is this working? Like, how does it actually feel like weight that I'm pulling?
Mad, isn't it?
And it's just things like I don't know if you could get a whole game out of that, but that and Beat Saber,
Yeah. Those are good shouts.
amazing.
Eric, what's your favorite VR experience to date?
To date. Okay. Three games popped in mind. Beat Saber is a good shot. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's a good workout. It's great to keep in shape.
Holy shit, it is. Holy
Yeah.
shit, it is.
It is.
I mean,
actually.
just for a game that's very quick to get into what VR can be while simple, and then also being able to fully nerd out is Arkham VR. Because you're fucking Batman.
I forgot
You
about
get the mask and put it on, you're like, oh my god! You look in the mirror, like I'm Batman right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever been so giddy in my life. Yeah. What was the third one?
Hold on. That's only the first one.
You said I thought Beat Saber was the first
No,
one.
Beat Saber's honorable mention.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, go on then.
So the second one then is that London heist thing.
Oh yeah, that was
I was
cool.
like,
Yeah.
holy shit! I'm like, it's like Guy Ritchie and John Wick fucking slapped together, but the car chase is like the fucking Matrix or some shit. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's really just a Guy Ritchie film, and the way the story is told is like, this is class.
I actually got that game, the game that came out after that, but I never got around to playing it, which was the Blood and Truth one.
Oh, okay.
Play it then.
I know I should play it, but it's
You have a list of stuff to play, I
I
suppose,
really
at this
do.
point.
I really do. Luckily, I should have time now to. hop into
Hey!
it, but, yeah, it is a commitment though. Getting into the VR.
Surely is.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
especially with all those wires at the moment. Yeah. This is why this is why PSVR 2. Come on, one wire or wireless.
Holy shit!
Maybe you just
Maybe.
stick a little thing in, and it's just like connected.
Like a little
You know what I mean?
dongle or something.
Yeah, like a dongle or something, and maybe it's gonna be wireless
Nah,
altogether.
Yeah, won't work.
Why? Is that
Just
just too
won't.
good to be true? Or,
Man, they
Yeah,
went to fucking space in the 60s.
Not yeah, but like VR is so reliant on more so than other versions. Like you can play 30 frames per second on a console, and like you can do, but VR, I think the PSVR is 90 frames per second,
yes, right, okay.
and I think the aim is to try to get 120. There's no way you're getting that wireless.
Okay.
Okay. Look it, we can dream.
You could
They
do
did
that.
also say there's no way you're going into space. They did also say that. They did it in the 60s. I think Eric is on to something.
Like, yeah, in a tinfoil capsule.
Yeah. Maybe the VR2 will just be made of tinfoil.
I'm sure their prototypes look like that. I'd love
Yep,
to see
use
that. I would love to
imagination.
go to whether it's Sony or Microsoft's like labs where they're like prototyping these things and they're just like sellotape together kind of weird contraptions.
Yeah. Check this shit out.
Yeah, a lot of them are dead.
Yeah. Eric, what was the third
The
game?
third one was the probably the most workout I have ever done in my life.
Right.
Super Hot VR.
Oh, that's a great one.
Holy
That is
fucking shit! If you want to feel like you're in the Matrix without playing, Enter the Matrix back in 2003 on PS2, Super Hot VR is literally you putting on a VR to go into a virtual world where if you don't move, time doesn't move. And then if you start to slowly move, time speeds up. It's people everywhere. And if you get hit once, you have to do the whole thing again. You fucking sweat by the end of it.
It's almost like that
crap.
first wave of games were just brilliant, and then
just stops.
Then there's no more VR.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It is strange. I probably experienced the least amount of VR out of the three of us, but like there's ones where I could say no, technically that's probably the best, but for pure fucking fanboy, like I mean the Arkham thing was just that was just a dream. Rocksteady didn't have to do that, but and it doesn't make sense, and fuck the story to it, right? Like it doesn't make sense, but you get to look in a mirror at one point and turn your face and see that you're Batman, and you're like, this is. Every time there was like, we're gonna make it feel like Batman, and then they did that. Like, wow! I just geeked out so much at that. I thought that was just an amazing immersive experience that was literally transformative in that moment.
Yeah.
I was like, VR has some serious like capabilities, or possibilities even for the future. And so, with that in mind, what would you like to see from future VR games, or what do you think could work as a future VR game?
I really want to see more kind of like, I think it was great getting into like putting the cowl on and being Batman and being in the Batcave, but I think the core mechanic of that game, which was fun, was the detective work. I think like a noir style detective game would be really cool. Something really stylized. Makes you feel like you're in like an old film or something like that, and just trying to solve a crime. Because the thing with VR, it's interacting with the environment, it's picking things up, it's like doing like, yes, action is great and all, but I think in VR it's just like about immersing yourself in the world.
Yeah, and there's only so much like you can't pull off an Uncharted thing in a VR.
No.
You can't really do that. I think, Quantic Dream, if they worked on a VR game, that's very
it would be cool to see those. Like you choose what you want to say and your responses and what other people like. That would be really cool.
That'd be cool. And then like if you play it again, the story actually might go slightly differently.
Yeah.
But you're not.
Because that is one thing that VR lacks is replayability.
Yeah. I think that would be a cool idea, and that only came from you saying the noir thing. I automatically thought of like, what would Heavy Rain be like in VR? And I was like, holy shit, what if those guys made a VR game? that would actually.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer. Like that should be.
Their next step. Yeah.
Get on that, guys. Get on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're listening to us, Quantic Dream. You're listening to the Brothers Take podcast. If you're not, you should be. I'm joking. I'm not.
But I think with VR, it's great going to like new worlds and experiencing things. But I think what makes VR great is visiting worlds So like, being in Jurassic Park, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Or
treat it like a theme park ride almost.
Yeah, like even that time when Battlefront did a small little demo of you in an X-wing.
Oh, that blew my mind as well. That was fucking.
And I didn't really care for the combat side of things, but just being able to like literally press the button and know which button to press to get the little thing to kind of come out, and just interacting with the entire
because you use the Force out.
No, but it's
behind
like
you
a nerd's dream as well.
R2D2 and stuff.
Yeah, and when it went to light speed, and you're just like, wow, space is so weird. Yeah, that would be fucking. More stuff like that would be brilliant. Like little kind of, almost like those amusement rides, which were always simulator kind of rides, if they brought more of those kind of to your house with the VR, that'd be fucking awesome. Eric, what would you like to see from like a future VR game?
After something Adam said earlier,
Yeah,
fucking Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings in VR.
Ah, yeah.
Well, like the whole quest, or
why not? Beyond Helm's Deep, you fight all the Urka. Fucking class, man. All that interaction shit. Fuck that. More action.
Yeah, where you have to maybe play as one of the Lothlorien elves or something. Just a random Lothlorien elf that ends up fighting alongside Aragorn.
Ah, then you die.
No, Eric's serious. He wants the whole trilogy.
They all die. Yeah, the whole trilogy. You fucking start from.
Maybe one of them runs away. You don't know.
They make this they purposely make this little attachment thing, right, for this particular game that you have to wear around your neck, and it's also like VR, but it's haptic feedback, and it gets heavier the closer you get to Mordor.
I think you could just literally have someone standing right in front of you, just constantly pulling on it.
Yeah.
You're just like.
Yeah, that sounds. I don't know. I think that sounds.
I don't
like
know. Okay. No, not the actual thing. But talking about things like Jurassic, like being able to go around Jurassic Park like a tour ride, or going around Middle Earth like a tour.
Yeah, imagine being able to walk through Minas Tirith and order a pizza. Like that'd be fucking amazing.
Or going through Hogwarts and going, why is this not Minas Tirith? That'd be class.
Or even
going through the Millennium Falcon or the Enterprise. I mean, I think there is Star Trek VR actually, isn't there?
They could do, because I was thinking about the other day. About earlier this year, Maneater was a free PS Plus game, right? And it's like, that's clearly like a Jaws game, and I was kind of like, why when they make certain games do they have you play as the wrong person? Like in a Jaws game, you shouldn't play as Jaws. You should play as the human. And Jaws should be the thing that's hunting you. Or it's like, that's why Alien Isolation hit the nail on the head. It's like, yes, of course you play as the human and you don't play as the alien, you fucking idiot. Like, fucking, what was it? Aliens versus Predator Colonial Marines or some stupid shit where you're playing as aliens and predators in first person. Anyway, imagine Jaws in VR. That would be fucking sick.
Where you get to play as the shark?
No.
Oh.
You get to play as the boat.
Yeah, and you're like, I need to be bigger. That's your mission objective is get bigger. Yeah. No, but that'd be cool. And you have to go down into the cage. Like I know there was a VR demo where you got to go into a cage and just look around you, but in this case, the shark would be attacking the cage, and our mom could play it and have a heart attack. I don't actually want Mom to have a heart attack, but didn't we get her to play the kitchen demo before?
Yeah,
that was very funny.
It was very funny. In case anyone doesn't know, the kitchen demo was a demo for Resident Evil 7, and it was showing off the VR capabilities of it, and it was just titled Kitchen, and so people didn't necessarily know what they were getting themselves into. No. I would love to see from VR all those things, but also maybe I think that could be the future of light gun shooters, which were games that I quite
I don't understand why there hasn't been a Time Crisis.
Yeah, big time. Time Crisis are finally Game Night 2, but I think those arcade shooters or even House of the Dead and stuff like
that.
Yeah. VR is the perfect evolution of kind of arcade, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, to bring in light gun shooters in a VR way, because when was the last time there was a home version of a light gun shooter?
There was a few on PS3, but
very few, but only towards the beginning of PS3. Because
when the Move came out, they started doing ones where you'd put the Move into a gun handle.
I remember. Yeah, I remember. But it just didn't really kick off, did it? I think it had more scope with the VR. Plus, you tend to play VR in short bursts because it is quite demanding and draining. Yeah. And those kind of arcade shooters, they're short, they're quick. You can play a stage at a time, and then the replayability is I want to beat my top score or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there could be little mini trophies and challenges and shit. But it doesn't have to be a long, very immersive game. But fucking Time Crisis would be great in VR. I'd love that shit, man.
Yeah, they could easily
they remade those like.
Yeah, they could. They could just
yeah.
remaster for VR because you don't need great graphics really for that kind of thing. You just like
Not for that kind of thing. No, it's just
make it VR compatible.
Yeah, maybe add in a couple of like new features or something in it, you know.
Yeah.
But that would be. I love Time Crisis 2.
It was
That
cool,
was
wasn't it?
so much fun.
Could you imagine when that guy on top of the train picks up that giant
missile and you've seen it in VR?
Yeah, and he's like swinging it at you.
Yeah.
That means fucking
And
dead.
with the 3D audio as well, you would be able to hear the bullets whiz past you.
Yes.
Oh,
or
man.
remember the bit where it's like, you know, there'd be the laser satellite and you had to like duck or it'd hit you and shit. Like, but you would have to physically duck. Not in that you had to let go of the aim button on the light gun. Remember? But this time you would have to physically duck and then get back up again and start shooting. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, it'd be like a lot like Super Hot in that way.
Okay, so we need Quantic Dream, amusement park rides essentially, and reenactments of movie sequences, and
like in those
fucking Time Crisis
amusement parks, you go to a particular room or door and you click on the door and then you get to reenact that sequence.
Oh, so imagine if they released a game called like Universal Studios or something like that, and it's different Universal movies that you get, like Jurassic Park, Jaws. You know what I mean? You go into these different. That would be fucking awesome. That'd be a cool pack, guys. Do this shit. So then, that's what we hope to see in the future of VR. But ultimately, we know a PSVR 2 is coming, and we're interested to see when it's coming and what exactly might it do differently, other than fix the wire problem. Moving on to a console that we haven't talked about an awful lot on this podcast, right? I want to park Xbox for a second because PlayStation is what we talked about the most, admittedly. And we have done some talking on Xbox as well. The one that has gone on the wayside the absolute most on our podcast, and it's not because we have anything against it or anything like that. It's just that the kinds of games we play tend to fall on certain consoles. But Nintendo, if nothing else, have always had really fucking interesting consoles. If nothing else, right? Definitely. Like, everyone remembers the Wii was just this. There was like, wait a second, the controller doesn't look like every other controller. What the hell? Like, this is crazy. And there was lots of actually great games for that. There was great games on the GameCube too. And then I fucking love the design of the Switch.
Yeah, it was love at first sight.
It was so innovative, yeah. And the only reason I never picked one up was, for me, unfortunately, there's just not enough games that are exclusive to that console that would make me go and get it. For other people, I'm sure there is. If you're a big Mario fan or a big Zelda fan, I'm more of a casual Zelda fan, and in terms of Mario, I could really take it or leave it. That was like a Game Boy phase for me, but I'm not a huge Mario fan or anything. But what the fuck could Nintendo do next? Like, that's
you killed Eric.
I think I'm just.
What do you mean? What could they do next? The whole world is their oyster. They will turn the world into a video game.
No, but like the thing is with PlayStation and Xbox, right? No point in mentioning the PC. PC is just, you have a good PC or a bad PC. They don't release new like things really. But PlayStation and Xbox really are going, okay, I wonder what shape the next one will be.
I'm saying the shit thing. No, I can't take it.
No, but Nintendo, it could be anything. That's the one. It could be anything. Like what might they do next? I really don't know. What do you think Nintendo might do next, or what would you like to see Nintendo do next?
I would like the thing is with the current Nintendo Switch, there's actually nothing wrong with it.
No. Yeah.
The screen is fine, even though it's like kind of a very outdated screen in comparison to what you have on other mobile devices. But it doesn't it's still fun to play. It doesn't get in the way of that. I do think the thing is probably a little bulky. Would like to see it maybe slimmed down if they could. There's really no reason for them not to get it slimmer. The current Switch has a fan in it, and with the current advancements in, and I think it is an ARM-based processor. The current advancements in the ARM architecture, like you really don't need a fan.
No.
Now maybe that maybe that does affect the performance of the games and stuff like that. But what I would like to see is that the Switch would prioritize maybe the battery a little bit more. Because I don't think that the graphics need to look that amazing.
Right.
When handheld. But the dock then have a separate graphics unit in the dock that would boost it and enhance it specifically for television.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you think they should do like a further development or further evolve the Switch as opposed to a brand new idea?
Yeah, I don't really see the point. They've hit it. You see, because they've been, if you look at their history, they've been working up to this point.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
When you think about it, like Nintendo have always been about, how do we make play fun, in whatever way, centered around video games, and that's with the Wii, for example. It was a huge departure from, what they were doing with the GameCube and what the competition were doing. But they were just focused on, well, fuck the games, really. Let's just make the action of playing them fun, which is the motion thing. And that blew up, obviously, because both Microsoft and Sony tried to do it as well.
Yep.
And then with the Wii U, that was them. They were continuing. It could still do motion, but they were looking at the 3DS, this idea of having two screens on the go, which would give you more information while you're playing. Well, can we bring that to the home console as well? So that way their controller had a screen on it. So you have your main screen, then your controller screen. So that's the DS being brought to a home console. And now they've advanced that even further with this Switch. They managed to bring all that and into a nicer package, which is still, there's a two screen thing happening, which is you have it in your hand or you can have it docked. It still has motion controls with the Joy-Cons. It's just it's kind of just a summation of what Nintendo has been trying to do this Switch console. So I really just see them, like the GameCube was almost an advancement on the N64 or the SNES to the NES. I think they've found it now, so they just need to keep pushing it. Keep pushing what they can do with this particular form factor.
You both have Switch, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. Is it backwards compatible? I've never asked that before, but is it?
Wait, what?
The Nintendo Switch, is that backwards compatible?
With what?
With what?
Oh, sorry, I think you said, wait, what? As opposed to with what? What? With other previous Nintendo consoles, so Wii and GameCube and whatnot.
It'd be a bit difficult to do that.
Oh, didn't they change completely the...
Yeah, it
doesn't
no
take discs.
Yeah, so you'd be kind of smashing a disc against the console, and it wouldn't be nice.
They do have...
Yes, I know, now I remember. Yeah, they come on little tiny... Yeah, fuck you.
They do have... Nintendo have... similar to like the PS Plus or Xbox Live or Game Pass or whatever it's called now. They have their own version, which is only like... I think it could be just 30 quid a year or something like that.
Right. And does it have everything?
What that does is they've made the NES and SNES catalog available.
Right, because like,
so you could play those really old school games on the Switch.
Yeah. And that's cool, and that's really cool. But like, I think that if I was able to play
Resi 4 on the Switch,
no, not just that, but like, there's a few like, if I was able to play, the re-release Resi 4 and everything, Eric. Resi 4 is the other Skyrim. It's on.
Oh, Skyrim is on Switch, isn't it?
Everything is on.
It is, yeah. You can get the Master Sword in it.
I think that if
that's not cool.
I could play Wii games and GameCube games on the Switch, as well as the current
Well,
Switch.
what game on the Wii would you want to play on it?
Man, the Umbrella Chronicles. Are you kidding me? What a game. I don't care what anyone says. Great
Okay.
fun. Is it a console seller? No. But but if it's just their additional, then yeah. But I tell you, if I could play the fucking Twin Snakes and
All right, okay.
fucking Wind Waker and shit.
But the Twin Snakes wasn't a Wii game.
No, it was a GameCube game.
It was a GameCube game.
That's what I'm saying. If it was Wii and GameCube, if you could play those games on it, if there was some way of doing that, then that would even be more enticing to me. But the other thing is, I would love to see more interesting Nintendo exclusives. There's some great ones.
Yeah.
I'm not like I know it's more of a family console and it's more targeted at younger kids. And Zelda's a great franchise, and Mario is a great franchise,
And Pokemon.
But I would really like to see some other stuff in there. Like PlayStation has loads of exclusives that make it as like, oh well, that's the one I'm going to follow now. And Nintendo just doesn't have enough for me to make me in a similar way to the Xbox. Now Xbox might have it now. Like I might feel like I need to pick up an Xbox in the future because of how many different studios they've bought now and properties they've bought now.
Yeah.
If they're going to make them Xbox exclusives, I'm gonna be like, now you have me. This is how you get me. The games is how you get me, and I would like to see more from Nintendo.
The one game I really wanted brought to the Switch still hasn't been, and I'm really, really annoyed about that because my Switch has been just gathering dust in the hopes and dreams of this game being released for it.
What is that game?
Wind Waker HD. Because they brought it out for the Wii U, and it's just abandoned on that console. I really want that game.
I've really come to a point where I think it's so cool to be able to make older games accessible on newer consoles. I think it's real tragedy in some cases. It's different if they're getting remade or remastered because you're like, okay, cool. Yeah. Then at least there's a way of getting to it again, and sometimes for the better as well. Sometimes it's a better version of what you originally wanted. But like it's a real shame if there's like some of the best games ever, and it's actually hard to play them. Like nowadays, the original Metal Gear Solid, which is still one of the best games ever made, is actually hard to find and play. That should not be. That should be like really accessible. And there's loads of games like that. Like that's just an example, but there's loads of games out there that people praise as some of the landmark games, and it would be great that you can, if you're picking up the newest console, you can still play the classics.
Yeah, because I was talking to the lads last night. We were talking about like video games and gaming and all that stuff too. Two of them were playing Resi 8 at the moment. One of the lads was talking about how like he has like a comfort game that he plays whenever whenever he's a bit stressed or anything, he play this game, and he couldn't find it. And he was really annoyed. And I think the game was a train simulator, and he just this game he loved it, and he was just annoyed. So if I think you get really playing the game, and if they got on that train to remaster it. Remake
remake the train game.
You know what, people would mod that with decision.
I think that
do you have
Thomas Tank
the 5 people on this side of the track and the 1 infant on that side of the track?
That's an old moral dilemma, folks. I really enjoyed the video, Eric, that you sent of the kid who's shown a toy track of one person on one track, 5 people on the other track, and the train coming, and the parent is obviously trying to teach the young child about morality, and the child looks at the 5 people and then looks at the one person and picks up the one person, and I kind of thought, oh, they're gonna do a nice thing where they take everyone off the tracks and they've like saved them all, and it's like, oh, that's really nice of a young kid to do. But instead he took the one person, put it on the other track with the 5 people, and then ran over all of them with the train and killed them all, which is what kids do instead. So Adam, you would like to see a future development of the Nintendo Switch, maybe some like a slimmer version with better graphics cards, essentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I would pick up a Switch 2 or whatever the hell it's called, or the next Nintendo console, because much like you, yeah, probably there isn't a killer game for me.
Yeah.
Even Breath of the Wild 2 probably wouldn't be enough to
sway you.
To sway me, yeah. Because I really want that Wind Waker HD. If they could just give me Wind Waker HD, but if they only make that available on Switch 2, I'd be so fucking pissed.
That would be
you'd have to get it then, Adam.
Annoying. I don't think they would do that though. Eric, what do you think, or what would you like to see from Nintendo in the future? Or do you think they're going to make a totally new console, or what do you think?
Well, as Adam was saying, that's what they tend to do. They tend to kind of look at their console and think, how do we do something different so that it stands out? So when you have like the PlayStation console,
don't say that.
Xbox. Well, you were talking about how
you said they did that, but you said that they would stop doing that. Whereas I think Eric's trying to say they do that, but they're going to keep doing that.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be a different console.
Do you think they'll make a new console?
Yeah, make it because they do tend to try to stand out, and it is what makes them get noticed and what makes people buy them. Because you don't usually buy a PlayStation and an Xbox, because most of the time it is just you get one and you pretty much have both. Like, yes, they offer different things or different games, but you're usually going to be buying the one that gives you the games you want. But pretty much everyone had the Wii. You know what I mean? Loads of people I know have Switch and stuff. People wouldn't really be big hardcore gamers. They get the Switch because it's just the Wii games always have some really fun games and really innovative things. So like the Wii was very good for family games. Well, the Switch is very good for, I think it's really good for college students who are on the go. You know, when they're always traveling, they can put on Pokemon, or they can put on Stardew Valley or Citizen Kane or whatever that game is called. Yeah. What's that game called? It's not Citizen Kane. The one with we had. No, you got little islands and everyone plays it.
Animal Crossing.
Animal
Crossing. There we go.
Okay. That's definitely nothing like Citizen Kane. Animal Farm would have been a more like a closer mix-up. Citizen Kane. What's that one called? Like, I thought you were talking about now I can't think of what it's called. You know, there's an old game about Kane, the fucking Wrath of Cain,
Legacy of Cain.
Legacy of Cain. I was like, are you talking about that? Is that? I didn't know that was on the Switch, but that's not what you're talking about at all. So
the other thing as well is like the Switch is like, there's so many third-party based games. Like, so there's games that you can get on the Switch that are also on PlayStation and Xbox. And I never actually purchase any of them, just because you can get them cheaper on PlayStation and Xbox and they perform better. It's fucking hard to decide. Like, Switch games are too expensive, I think, in comparison to the competition. That I think if there's a sale on another console, I think Nintendo needs to give pricing over to the developers and let them decide a little bit on what the pricing would be. Yeah, and you never see Nintendo games go on sale. Breath of the Wild is still like 70 quid.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. I think in some ways they're not, I don't know, keeping up with the kind of the market that in that way, and it's kind of a shame. They seem to have become well, maybe it's different in different parts of the world, but where we are, Nintendo seems to become a niche, or definitely the secondary console and never the primary console. And that's like the bracket they've fallen into. Maybe they're happy with that because they're like, well, if we're everyone's secondary console, then we're in every home. But at the same time, I think it would be really cool if they could find a way to make themselves like oh shit, that's actually a serious contender to be a primary console. In design, the Switch is that. It's fucking genius design. Yeah. In what it offers game-wise, I feel like it's not. Definitely not. And I wish there was more interesting games and that they performed better on the Switch, and that would make me want to pick one up. However, I agree with Eric. I think Nintendo are going to be working on a new console.
Something
Maybe
different.
it'll be yeah, I don't know what now. What it could be? No idea. Can't even speculate what it could be. But I could have never speculated the Switch. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was looking at the Wii U, if someone had said, "What do you think Nintendo's going to make next?" I probably would have went, "I don't know, the Wii upside down. I don't know, another Wii." Like it might be called the Switch something, but I think it will be a new console that does something slightly different. The Switch. Nintendo Switcheroo. So yeah, I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe they'll announce it this year. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be next year. I don't know. But I do think that they will, and maybe they'll announce a new console that is completely backwards compatible, and it'll have multiple inserts or something. And that's going to be its thing, where it'll take any type of disc or whatever they've had in the past, and it does everything. And you pick it up, and it is a screen. Maybe it'll be just a little dongle that you stick on your television, and you control it with your mind. Like Nintendo could do anything.
I imagine it'll be Switch compatible, like compatible with the Switch cartridges. But no, I mean even the Wii, like the halfway through the Wii's life cycle, they got rid of the GameCube compatibility. So it's only the first batch of Wii's was compatible with the GameCube. It was too expensive. It's too expensive to have a part that can read old games for a market that isn't taking advantage of it.
They're not that interested in competing either, are they?
No, they're very much what you just said, which is and what Eric was saying.
It's interesting.
It's for people like they dominate the handheld for sure.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And I don't
much always have.
Like I don't think they see Xbox or PlayStation as a competitor. Like they even had like collaboration with Xbox as well.
Yeah, well, I think vice versa. I don't think PlayStation and Xbox see Nintendo as a competitor. No. I just think they see them as. I actually think they admire them.
They might start seeing Xbox as a competitor with the xCloud, maybe.
Yeah.
Just because that would be mobile on the go, but I think what would be the possible biggest competitor for Nintendo is actually Apple.
Apple?
Yeah.
Why? That's interesting.
Just because of their... So Apple seems slowly to be going into the gaming space. Last year they announced Apple Arcade, which is the £5 a month subscription where you get access to a bunch of different mobile games. And they have that whole, well, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on the tablet, you can play it on your computer, you can play it on your laptop, and you can play it on the Apple TV. So you can kind of play it kind of anywhere. Really. It's almost got that transformative experience as well. Now that does require you to buy multiple very expensive accessories, but then there's talks of them wanting to go a little bit further into gaming, and instead of, when you think about like what Eric was saying there about college students, right? Yes, Switch is fantastic for college students, but most college students have a phone. If they could have a phone that could play fantastic games, would there be much need for a Switch?
Good point. And I think mobile gaming in general is near the mobile phones are going to be another, well, in some cases already are a console in and of itself. If it's capable of running certain games, and I think it's only a matter of time before more and more like high quality games become available on phones. And then if you look at the types of controllers that are being developed, like the likes of the Backbone, for example, for like the Apple phones or whatever, but there's more versions like that where
I think Razer have one as well.
Yeah, and it'll give you, basically, if you have one of those, and if Uncharted 4 could run on your phone, you could play Uncharted 4 on your phone. If it could, hypothetically. In which case, you could bring high-quality games anywhere with you all the time. That's competition in the future.
Well, what if Nintendo makes a pair of shades that when you put them on, you press a button And the whole world becomes a fucking video game.
You've just reminded me. That's the Nintendo VR. You've just reminded me of the video game based movie of Dead or Alive. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Yeah.
And the villain in it, played by Eric Roberts, he has a pair of shades with a little thing on it that sucks in all the information from the nanobots, which he put inside all of the fighters. And the tournament was actually a way of scanning. Someone actually wrote this. Scanning and studying the different fighters so that when he wears the shades, he has all of their abilities and he can fight and block anyone and he can kick anyone's ass as long as he's wearing the shades. As soon as the shades get knocked off, he can't fight. He has no idea how to. So while the shades are on, I don't know, it's like they do analytics or something, and he knows then how to block and shit. So he decided to put this incredible, amazing technology into a pair of sunglasses. You know, if you got hit once, they would fall off. Like, you know, I know, yeah, The Matrix, but that was a simulation, man. Go watch Dead or Alive, everyone, if you haven't seen it. If you want to watch another shit video game movie. Fucking shit, but great crack.
Out of all the video games to adapt into a film as well, you know?
It's bizarre, some of them. It's really bizarre, some of them. But anyway, you reminded me of that when you mentioned the shades. Yeah, so like you're playing a game with your shades, and if someone ever taps on the back of the head, you're out of the game. Fall off, yeah. You're walking around trying to collect Pokemon with your shades.
Like, you know, I think it's Johnny English Returns or something like that, or Johnny English Strikes Again, and he tries on the VR, but something ends up going wrong, so he ends up walking off the moving platform.
Right. He's on with them, yeah.
He ends up going off that, and it's wireless, so they're doing what they should do with VR and make it wireless. So he ends up going all across the streets of London and stuff, but to him, he's like going through a house and he's practicing how to be a spy. At one point, he goes into a library, and in his vision, he sees a bad guy, but across the library, just a guy is reading, so he turns and he picks up a book, but he thinks it's like a kitchen tray or something like that. And he just fucking fucks it out of his face. Where he's like, no, he slides against the table and whacks him in the head, and it runs into an elevator. And it just fucking ages. He fights those people. So this is
why they're not wireless. So then moving on from Nintendo, we're certainly not leaving them out. We need to come across to Xbox. I feel like Xbox have already nailed what their future is, and that's Game Pass.
Yeah,
I'm curious as to what they might put out in the future, but I don't know if they're going to focus on any kind of gimmicks. Not that I'm trying to talk down on the likes of VR and all. Like, it's kind of like a gimmick to, like, you know, come over to our side. We've got these cool, you know, we've got a handheld version and we've got a VR or whatever. They're additional to the console. You still have to have the console itself. And, you know, like, in a way where Xbox at one point, Xbox One had the Kinect or whatever. Like, I don't see them doing another one of those. Do you? Do you think they'll do?
No, they seem to be. No, they seem to be like looking at the subscription model, and as long as you have a huge catalog that can draw people into it, and the Xbox itself, you can see that with the S and the X, is offering you two hardware solutions to gain and access to their service. But the future is that you'll be able to access their services on anything. I gave xCloud a go.
Oh yeah.
I was playing on my phone. And it's definitely not there yet, but it's interesting. It's interesting to be able to play Halo on your phone.
And I was just about to ask, what's the catalog like on xCloud?
It's Game Pass. Whatever's on Game Pass is on
Wow.
xCloud.
So there's like, you can play some serious like blockbusters on your phone?
I played Skyrim on my phone.
Take your shots, folks. No, but like, that's fucking cool. That's really cool. And when you say it's not there,
that's the thing, though. It is
laggy or what?
Well, that's the thing. It is cool but I wouldn't play a game that way.
Okay.
And it is to do with that. There's like, when you're watching a YouTube video and there's like, the background, like let's say there's like a vignette or something like that, the going from the different color, like dark to light or whatever like that, there's like all this kind of pixelations, and it's like the visuals just look really bad.
Okay.
Okay. And it would get choppy at times and stuff like that. Now that just comes down to I was playing over Wi-Fi. Not that my Wi-Fi is bad or anything like that, but it just goes to show that ideally you need the best conditions of 5G if you're going to play over cellular.
Yeah.
Or you need to be hooking it up directly to your Ethernet.
And you can't download a game then from xCloud Gaming?
No, it's just being streamed, so it's like their version of Stadia.
You see, it's a cool idea in it. Look, to me, it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm old-fashioned. I like to have the Blu-ray. Streaming is cool, but I like to have the Blu-ray. And when I put on
the Blu-ray, 100% is always going to look way better than a stream ever will.
And it will always work, so long as the thing I'm putting it into works. Yeah. But it's not going to halfway through start lagging or freezing or just shut off altogether and go, there's an error, you can't play this now. And you're like, fuck me, it was just getting good. And that has happened to me on every streaming service at some point. And if gaming goes the same way, I mean, maybe it's like super accessible and easy. And maybe that's good for like people who are like, well, look, I don't want to pay 70 to 80 quid to try a game. I don't know if it's any good. They don't do game rentals anymore. Like,
they don't do demos. Barely anyone does demos anymore.
Like, how do I know if the game is fucking for me? And half the time, the trailers are bullshit because they're either done with live action actors or, as Ubisoft do, they make CG trailers that are not showcases of the game at all. So you're like, I'm really taking a gamble on buying this fucking game. Like, so maybe then you're like, streaming is the way to go because I get to try them out. But I like quality over quantity. So I would.
I mean, the xCloud thing
is a cool additional service, but I don't want it to replace.
No, and I don't think it would. I think it'll actually be years away. I think Microsoft are very clear on, like, they know that, because xCloud itself is a beta, so you kind of have to sign up to get access to it.
Right.
And they still have like the Game Pass service. They still have physical games. They're very like they can see like that's the future. We're going to try and get there.
They have like a roadmap.
We're just not there yet, so we need to, continue to support the traditional console solution until we can get to that point. They offered it as a beta so that they can allow people to try it and give feedback so that they can learn from that and improve the service. Unlike Google. Like, I think Microsoft out of all is doing it the right way. But their business model confuses the hell out of me. I don't know what they're doing. Like, because it's like this is too generous. What you're doing is too nice for a corporation. Like, I what's the catch here?
Right, you're like expected something in the end, and I'm sure there will be something in the end. But I think at least there's where you could see each console has like a future, right? PlayStation seems to be these big budget exclusives, and I think they will focus a lot on VR in the future too, right? I think that they toyed with the idea the first time around, but the second time around they're going to take it to a whole new level. I think there's going to be a lot more VR the second time around. Nintendo are really focusing on that secondary console, that take it anywhere with you, that family fun thing. For me personally, it hasn't made me buy one, but they're gonna continue down that road. It's been successful for them, and Xbox are really looking at down the line. People will subscribe to us to play our games, right? That is going to be our model. That's our future, and we're going to offer so many games, and that is why they are spending a fortune buying big games right now.
Big studios,
because that's the future. I really do think that even though at the start some of those games might be cross-platform, eventually it will lead to exclusivity because there's no point in having a subscription service if people can just get it elsewhere.
Because pretty much all the future Bethesda games, they're all Exclusive, aren't they?
Well, Starfield is going to be, right? There's questions about what will happen to Elder Scrolls.
I thought they could have said that was.
I wouldn't be surprised. I actually think it would
It could
be
very
a
much be, yeah.
clever move. Not that I would want it, because I would want to just pick the game
Morrowind
up,
was, in terms of console, Morrowind was an Xbox exclusive, so...
yeah. I think it will be on Xbox and PC, and not on PlayStation and Nintendo. And I think if I was them and I owned it, that's exactly what I would do. Because that's Elder Scrolls 6 is a console seller. 100%. You don't think so?
With the fact of Fallout 4, Fallout 76, some people, I think their fate in
but
slightly been. They're
always going to come around though. Like, I mean, I think it's still it's Elder Scrolls though.
Yeah, like I think I Fallout's cool and all, but I don't think Fallout has as much levity or gravitas or scope as Elder Scrolls.
Maybe I hope. I hope it's
never did.
Sure, if it's exclusive, I'll probably fucking buy an Xbox then. And I'm very interested to see Starfield, because
I'm interested to see it. I think Xbox and Microsoft are going to own E3 this year.
Probably. Maybe
If
Bill
there's an
Gates is sitting in his mansion with
Just
a pair
say-
of shades.
Just say
With a
if there's
pair-
an E3.
Yeah,
There is one.
definitely.
Yeah. It's digital, but there is one. Because
Who's at it?
lots of people have said they're not going to be at it, and other people said they are going to be at it. Like, for example, here's an interesting one, because
So
we've
it's just
talked
Microsoft.
about it. Microsoft are going to do a lot at it. I don't think Sony are doing it. I think Sony
No,
wants to
they're
do their
definitely
own
not,
thing later,
no.
right?
Yeah.
But I think Nintendo will be at it.
No.
No?
Nintendo have pulled out of E3 like 5 years ago, nearly.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well,
Like,
it's
it's
pretty
been
much a
long time
Microsoft event
since
then.
like nearly everyone has been pulling out of E3. Microsoft have been the only ones continuing to go into E3, along with I think Bethesda, but now they bought them, so it's still just Microsoft. And
Well, they're going to be at it though, right? Like, I think Starfield
as part of Xbox Showcase, it
Yeah.
probably, unless they decide no, actually continue your own, just showcase your own, maybe. But
I think they would. I think they'd be better off doing that, because essentially they get two showcases then. Do you know what I mean? They get two.
but I think it would, it would really benefit Xbox's brand if they just had Bethesda at their show.
I get what you're saying. The people don't see it as a separate thing.
Yeah, because in the past, Bethesda had their own because they were multi-plat at the time. So they're like, this is, we have this coming on mobile, we have this coming on PlayStation, we have this coming on PC, we have this coming on Xbox. But now they could just, it's an Xbox only.
Well, there definitely is an E3, because Greg Miller is one of the hosts at it, and he was talking about it on Kind of Funny Games. But here's the interesting thing. I think this is really interesting, because we've talked about a certain game developer before who were slated to be at it, and then only a little while ago pulled out. But they said they did originally have something to show, and then they were like, actually, we're not ready to show it just yet.
Okay.
Konami.
Really?
Yeah. There is, you can look it up if you want, but Konami were slated to be at E3 and then pulled out.
Slated as in they had a slot, not as
they were going to be at E3.
I see. I heard that as people were like, "Oh, fuck you, Konami. We don't want you." Just like,
well, probably.
Well, that probably happened too. But because I have said before that I think Konami need to do their own little event where they show off a couple of games.
Yeah.
And I think they are going to. I think they're going to.
Oh.
If they're like, we have something that we want to show, but actually we have like two other things that we're nearly ready to show, but we're just not there yet. Why don't we just fucking hold back and do our own thing?
Oh, it's gonna be
When they're
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
When they're ready, because that's a smart move nowadays when everything's digital anyway. Own your own showcase.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think it's gonna be fucking cool. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's a Metal Gear Solid remake, and it's fucking Silent Hill, and it's fucking Castlevania."
I do think this is going to be the year now that kind of goes. Like, Xbox have shown like what they can do with hardware and what they can do with services, and there's a good promise there. But I think this is the year where they're like, okay, this is what we've been working on. bang, 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 bang. Here's all our games.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's gonna be a good show.
like I think by the end of this year, from different little events and different outlets. Not that we need to get lots of games this year, but in a, like when we were talking about where are all the games, it wasn't necessarily like why aren't they in our hands right now. Ultimately, I think what we want to see is, and not even dates, but you know when the MCU did that Phase 4 announcement?
Yeah, that's especially what we need. Yeah,
Something like that, where it's like, this game's coming, this game's coming, this game's coming, and you're like, holy shit, they're doing what? All of that, and you're just so excited, and everyone's just speculating online for a long time about what's it gonna be and when's it coming out, and you know, just pure excitement.
Yeah,
we need to see that at a couple of events. That would be great. That would be great. The real question is, in the future of gaming consoles, forget PlayStation and Nintendo and Xbox. Those are small dogs. Those are puppies. Come on. Where is the KF console? Where is it
what
at?
happened to that?
It was a joke, was it?
They did make
Have
it.
you never seen it?
Oh yeah, no, I'm more like, yeah, definitely a joke. It
Was
looked
it, though?
nice. It looked nice.
They didn't actually make one though. Like they didn't make
Did
it.
it make one?
Yeah.
It heats your chicken. and it plays Facebook games? Is that what it plays?
No, well, no. It played like it had I think it had an Nvidia GPU in it. It could play PC games.
How much is it? I'll fucking buy it.
It looked
Heat my
cool.
chicken?
It was like 699 quid or something like that. Maybe I can't remember.
I might wait till it has a price, or like as in it goes down in price.
I don't.
But
think,
like it was.
I don't
black.
think it's available to the public. I don't think it is.
It was like obsidian black, wasn't it? With like red lights and shit.
Yeah.
It was so funny because I remember everyone was telling me about it first.
Yeah.
This can't be real. And they're like, look it up, and it's designed to look like a chicken bucket.
Yeah.
And all I could picture was the actual chicken bucket.
Yeah.
Like, and then I looked it up. I was like, that's actually sweet.
Actually,
Like,
it kind of looks like.
stylish.
What's the name of that, Adam? I think you got it. The not. I don't want to say the atomic bomb. That might sound dangerous on the internet. The trash can, the Apple trash can thing.
Yeah.
What was that
Oh
called?
yeah.
That's a Mac Pro.
Yeah. That's kind of like, it looked like a nicer version of that.
Kind of looked like that, yeah, with red lights in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is actually, it was pretty cool design. Like, to be honest, it's cooler than the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
I know.
No, come on now, get out of it.
No,
No,
it kind of looked like an Alienware PC.
Look it up, anyone, if you haven't seen it yet. Do check it out. The KF console, it's called.
Even the naming. It's good.
Yeah, it's genius.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny. But you're also like, what? Why would?
Yeah,
Why
it's
would
so confusing.
KFC?
Want to get the console business?
Yeah, it's such a strange one. Is there anything else down the pipeline that we haven't brought up, or any other crowds or developers that you wanted to bring up?
Well, I think it's interesting that we've got the three main kind of gaming console companies: Nintendo, Xbox, or Microsoft, and Sony PlayStation. But there are three other players as well. Well, actually four.
Right.
That never really get any real attention because they're more like they're in the gaming space, they're in the gaming market, but they're not like, they're almost hiding in the shadows.
Right.
That being Steam, Valve with Steam.
Yeah.
Big player in the game space. I suppose you could include, there's Epic Games and there's EA and stuff, but they're on other consoles. But Facebook's
Facebook gaming,
a gaming platform, and then obviously Google them with Stadia.
Yeah.
And now recently enough Apple with the Apple Arcade. So at any point, what could be really weird, and we've seen it before in the past, any one of these companies could end up kicking one of the other companies, the main three, just out of the fucking marketplace altogether.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is they're not selling consoles.
No.
You can
They
get
do sell
their
hardware.
games. They do, yeah.
Yeah.
but it's not like in order to continue playing Steam games, it's like at some point, you know what I mean? The Steam games are going to like stop. And in order to continue playing the Steam games, you need the new thing that plays those Steam games, right? Which is how these
That's how consoles work. Yeah.
consoles work, right? And look I get why people like you could easily go, well then yeah, why the fuck would you play a console? I kind of like the whole console cycle thing. It's exciting, it's kind of fun, and it's cool to see the new shit. But and it means that there's stuff that the games are doing that previous consoles couldn't do, and that's always exciting, right? But that's not to say that like with Steam on PC or whatever, you know, people are constantly building their own PCs that are much better than previous PCs, or people are, you know, always upgrading their PCs or getting new graphics chips and shit like that. So they do keep up with like the newer technology or the newer games and stuff. But it's just interesting, yeah, that we don't put them in the same conversation nearly as the home console.
Well, I think it's probably because, like, okay, actually, let's remove Steam from the thing.
Goodbye, Steam. You're only a provider.
It is
Come
more
on,
of a store.
That's a store. You're a shop. You're a fucking shop.
That constantly updates.
I don't think Steam's going anywhere, and I don't think Steam's ever going to have a problem in the future. But
no, and they'll stay as they are. They're fine.
Okay, so between Facebook, Google, and Apple as kind of in the gaming space, but could become way more serious in the gaming space, which one of those do you think has the highest chance of having a success as becoming a gaming company, so to speak, to some degree?
Yeah.
And then out of the main three, if one of them was to fail and to get kicked out of the marketplace altogether and replaced by one of the other ones, which one of those three would get replaced?
I think Google will probably be the most successful.
Okay. How come?
Because it's on like every PC. It's in pretty much nearly every phone. I think Apple products are quite niche in the sense of not many people would get them. There's still this almost stigma against its pricing, and everyone would look at it as like, oh well, it's ridiculous pricing, and people who get them are nonsense and all that sort of stuff. Like, so I think Google would probably be the most successful because there is a dislike for Facebook as well.
Yeah,
I think Google will be most successful, and then based on the fact that it is a second-based console seller, I almost think it would replace Nintendo or Sony. I think Microsoft is fine. I think Google would either replace Sony or Nintendo.
All right. I really don't know because I kind of see them all. I see your logic as well about Google and Facebook. All right. I like Apple, right? And I like the technology that they have. I like their style and their design, and I think they bring out great shit. But I think ultimately Google and Facebook are more accessible because you get them on everything. And so as a result, and I think the casual gamer is not always into like
I'm not talking about
and all that, right?
Yeah, I'm not talking about like being a casual player. I'm talking about like if any one of these three decide now
become like serious.
Yeah, they're dipping their toes into gaming a little bit. So if one of the three decide to finally say, okay, we are actually getting into gaming now properly, we're wanting to take on Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation, which of those three would, or at least be more successful in doing so, and replace one of the existing three?
I don't know which ones they would replace, but I think if any of them were to do it, I would be inclined to think Apple, and that would be based on, I think they could actually build an Apple something that is like a new console designed to play their games.
Oh my god, they could call it the iCore because of like an Apple core.
Yeah, that could be cool. That would sound cool. But I think of all of them, they're the ones that could come out with this new piece of technology that's going down a different road, not competing with what the others are doing, but genuinely like this is a new thing we have. Because I don't know about like the other two. Like Facebook gaming is always going to be, I think, secondary to what Facebook's primary function is.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more Oculus. Their Oculus thing is like their main.
Oh,
that's their main gaming. Well, I would say their more serious gaming platform.
Yes, yeah. But look, I to be honest, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I haven't really gamed on either of those, and so I can't really come from a background of like, oh, one of these does it particularly well. I could just see the way Apple markets and the way Apple releases its technology and the way it innovates. If one of them was to become a big player, it's not yet, but they have potential to do so in the future, I think.
Yeah. I would also say Apple, because of their recent chips, their M1 chip that they've made.
Right.
Which is...
It's like he already fucking knows.
It's ridiculous. They've recently just put it into the iPad. So they're able to put it into a device as thin as an iPad.
Yeah.
But the performance of it is like... It's on par with the Intel Core i9.
Okay.
Which would be a fucking beefy PC CPU.
Yeah.
So if they're able to... Now, I wouldn't imagine if they were to make a gaming box of some sort that they would put this in it. But they have the potential of doing it, and it's their own chip.
Yes.
They make it. They're not relying on another company. And the future of PC gaming, or not PC gaming, but PC in general, the future of computing is in the ARM-based processor. Microsoft are looking at it. Nvidia are looking at it. It's what's in the Switch is an ARM processor. And Apple have pretty much just completely shown the marketplace on how you make one. How you make one that's incredibly powerful. And so that's why I would think they would be able to do it in a way that could actually compete in some degree. And I think the one company that has that could, now not that they are going to fail, but the one company, if they were to replace one, unfortunately I think it would be Sony. I don't think Sony has enough to keep going.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. I think at this point Sony's game plan is based purely on loyalty. I want to say, not that they're not pumping money into great studios and great talent and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of becoming a little bit I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but the PlayStation seems to be becoming kind of an artsy console for the Oscar-winning games.
Well, the thing that would just make me worried is that...
But not the fucking...
Nintendo were able to make a huge success out of the Switch, right? After failing miserably with the Wii U. And even though they were failing miserably with the Wii U, they were fine. Because supposedly they could have lost money for the next 30 years and they would have been grand. So as a company, financially, they are doing okay. Microsoft has not just... Like, Xbox isn't their biggest money maker. Yeah. So I think they would be fine.
Microsoft are fine. They spent billions on studios. They're fucking grand.
PlayStation's biggest, or Sony's biggest moneymaker is PlayStation. That's worrying. Right. As a company, that's worrying. You have like a movie.
Well, it's putting all your eggs in one basket.
You have a movie division, and it's like not doing well. You sell televisions, Do they do cameras still? Phones.
They do cameras,
tablets. Yeah. And PlayStation's your biggest moneymaker. I think you need to really reassess your company and look at the other divisions and start pumping out.
Yeah. So there's some advice for you if you're listening from Sony, guys. It's like Quantic Dream, get on it. Sony, get on it. Anyone else that we were talking to, Jared? Get on it. Whatever it was, get on it. But now what we'd love to do is hear from anyone who's been listening to the podcast and get all your thoughts on everything that we brought up today And also, would love to get your thoughts on that conversation there at the end between Apple, Google, and Facebook. Which ones have the highest chance of becoming a serious gaming competitor to the big three at the moment, and why? Why do you think that one? Maybe you think, maybe you have some information that we don't have or that Adam didn't have, and you're like, no, actually, it's going to be Google, and this is why. But we'd love to get into that kind of discussion. So if you have, and as well, let us know of the big three: Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. If any of them were to get into any kind of trouble, which one do you think it would be? I think some good points were raised about PlayStation there, but maybe you feel differently. Do let us know. Jump into the comments if you're watching this on YouTube and let us know all your thoughts on everything that we talked about today. And if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell so you know when you get future content from us. If you're listening to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take. Any feedback, any thoughts you want to give, we'd love to hear. And hit that follow icon wherever you are so that you know when we put out future episodes. Thank you very much for listening to us talking about our speculations for the future of gaming, and we hope to hear from you guys in the future. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.